Entertainment has no place in higher education teaching. Discuss. We have a problem, Houston. Whether synchronous, asynchronous, online or face-to-face, student absenteeism from contact sessions is a significant problem, regardless of location, discipline or level. For example, Sawson in 2012, in findings from an Australian study, concluded that, quote, the low attender does not like attending lectures, finds them boring and generally easy to understand, and explains any absence as due to a belief that it wasn't worth attending or they couldn't be bothered attending. Sawson goes on to say the high attender, in comparison, likes attending lectures, finds them interesting but also easy to understand, and explains any absence as due to external factors such as sickness. So clearly, just looking at absenteeism, there's a difficulty, and it seems to arise from poor teaching as construed by students as punters. At the same time, the UK Teaching Excellence Framework, TEF, claims to elevate the profile, importance and reward for excellent teaching. Furthermore, and as another twist in the story, COVID-19 and the born-again zeal of universities recently discovering the love of distant and blended learning makes it all the more important online, remotely, to be able to hook in students to their learning, maintain that participation, and to scaffold and assist and facilitate. So the title of this short presentation, Entertainment Has No Place in Higher Education Teaching, is actually a direct quote from an international conference that I attended a few years back, and a plenary speaker actually came out with those words. I was incandescent and shocked when I heard that statement. Surely, whether it's leisure time entertainment or a session with students, it's essential to offer entertainment, by which I mean purposeful means by which to attract the audience, engage students in learning and keep them participating during and hopefully after the session ends. It's not rocket science. As far back as 1964, Marshall McLuhan, an American marketeer, coined the term, "the medium is the message." What he meant was that it's not just the content, which of course is important in anything that we're trying to transmit or communicate, or where you're trying to elicit interaction with a student group, but the way we do things, like teaching, is as important as the content. It's a matter of process and product. Entertainment is part of the process of teaching learning, in my book, and I hope you would agree. So just stop for a moment and cast your mind back to, no doubt, when you were at university, and I pretty much guarantee that you will have had the full range from the spectacular through to the absolutely dire. In my case, it would be the academic who in our module would repeat the word situation over and over, to such an extent that we lost the meaning that she was trying to convey, because we became fixated as a student group with, when would the next repetition of the word arrive? Similarly, just the other day on Radio 4, I was listening to a spokesperson for Universities UK, and what drivel. They actually repeated the word the offer conservatively about 10 times in as many minutes. So let's move on to something a bit more constructive and useful. So if we accept we have a problem in terms of engagement and entertainment, what can we do about it? What are the ways and the means? So firstly, I would encourage disruption as a pedagogic strategy and practice. Now, I'm not talking about classroom disruption in the sense of, get people to start chucking paper aeroplanes and being a pain and generally disruptive in that sense. What I do mean is referred to by Phil Race, Professor, and Pickford from 2007. And they talked about the importance of disrupting a student's equilibrium to trigger their learning and movement to new understandings. This in turn links to good old Lev Vygotsky's zone of proximal development, ZPD, which basically says that there is this gap between what we know, whether it's as staff or students, and what we don't know. And the zone is the area in which you can make that bridge, make that link from the known to the unknown. Race goes on to commend, for example, what he calls unfinished business. To you and I, this is typical of a cliffhanger in any sort of drama, let's say on television or streamed. So at the end of Line of Duty or at the end of The Durrells or some such programme, there's a cliffhanger. What's going to happen in the next episode? Same time, same channel, next week. Well, similarly, surely if we can leave students at the end of a session with something really memorable, something that they think, wow, what is going to happen, that you can pick up next time, it's a great way of keeping them hooked. Similarly, Cohen and Yurkovich in 1997 talked about surprise packages as a way of entertaining and engaging. So, for example, you might request students from one discipline, let's say the arts, to look at an issue, staging plays, through an environmental lens or vantage point. The reason being to get them to work out new aspects, angles that they hadn't considered. Or similarly, I remember with planning students, seeing them paired, one in a wheelchair and one pushing. Now, this exercise in the field helped them to realise the realities of being wheelchair bound, the problems of paving stones that stick up, or not being able to find somewhere to get down onto the roadway or off the roadway. Thirdly, shake it up. For example, some of you with a classical education might remember Theseus and the Minotaur. So Theseus in the Greek legend kills the wicked Minotaur, poor thing, and he uses a ball of string to work his way back from the end to the beginning. And that's what we can do. Why should we start at the beginning and end at the end? You could start in the middle, you could start at the end, work backwards. In similar vein, break the rhythm. So, for example, when discussing how to present in public, I did a 1 minute ham it up role play of howlers. So whether it's online or face to face, I exited the class, re-entered looking at total shambles, not difficult, dropped the notes on the floor, crossed my arms defensively, mumbled, turned my back to the class, throw in a lot of then get them to report back your mistakes and offer others too. They have a laugh, they have fun, they engage, they think, well, actually, this isn't rocket science at all. Moving towards the end, jouissance, lovely word, lovely French word. It's talking about the pleasure from a light bulb moment. So when a complex problem is solved or understood, or enlightenment dawns, there is this jouissance, there's this wow, this deep learning, which after all should surely be the aim of our teaching practice. And finally, fun for learning, osmosis, the invisible engendering of capabilities and knowledge, not beating students over the head with wall-to-wall data, PowerPoint or content. Just listen to The Jam rock band performing That's Entertainment. Thanks very much indeed. I'm James Derounian, Visiting Professor, National Teaching Fellow, University of Bolton. If you'd like to follow up, I am j.derounian57, that's DEROUNIAN 57, at btinternet.com. Thank you.